Welcome back to Outdoor Life in Christ. I'm Lane, and I'm sure you're tired of hearing about politics. Probably can't wait for the elections to be done with so you don't have to listen to any of it anymore. But the thing is, after the elections are done, are you prepared for the riots? Are you prepared for your new leader or current leader to continue giving you laws and regulations that you need to live by when this book alone, people can't live by all these rules? I brought you out here today this spot reminds me of the Battle of Thermopylae when the 300 Spartans were fighting off the Persians. And the way that they were able to do that was there's a wall on the left and on the right. And as you can see down here, it leads to what we call in the military the fatal funnel. That leads to death. So it's just like in politics today that you have the left and you have the right. It doesn't matter what path you take, it's going to funnel you down to death. And that's the way that man likes to rule. And Israel, back in the Old Testament, over 3,000 years ago, they were having the same issue. They didn't want to be led by God anymore. They wanted to be led by man. So we're going to be going to 1 Samuel today and see what the Lord has to say about these elections. So there was a prophet named Samuel, and he was leading the people at the time. He was the one that would get information from the Lord and tell the people. And he had a couple of sons, and they were not very good people. And everybody knew that they were completely corrupt. And they were the judges at the time in Israel. So I'm going to start in 1 Samuel 8, verse 4. It says, "Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Ramah, and said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people, and all that they say unto thee, for they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. According to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me, and served other gods, so do they also unto thee." So, a few thousand years ago, people had the same problem that we're facing today. We don't want God to rule us in our nation. We want people to rule our nation. And continuing on, verse 9, it says, "Now therefore hearken unto their voice, howbeit yet protest solemnly unto them, and show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them." So the Lord is telling Samuel, I can give them what they want, but first tell them what they're actually asking for. And as we all know, Israel kept turning from the Lord, and we do the same thing. When we became a Christian American nation, all we really did was adopt a whole bunch of pagan traditions and rituals, and then we threw a Christian name on it. So in verse 10 it says, "And Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked of him a king. And he said, This will be the manner of a king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. And he will appoint him captains over thousands and captains over 50s, and will set them to ear his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war, and instruments of his chariots. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers. And he will take your fields, and your vineyards, and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. And he will take the 10th of your seed and of your vineyards, and give to his officers and to his servants." And so this is just a whole list of, if you have a king ruling over you, this is what he's going to do. He's going to want power for himself, and he doesn't care about what you have. He cares about what you have so he can take it for himself, but he doesn't care about you. If you look 100, 200 years ago, America was a flourishing nation. And we would do business with other countries, and we didn't have all the taxes that we actually have today. And so now our nation gets its power from the people, and the people just keep saying, we want someone else to give us our freedoms. But the Lord already gave you freedom. You're asking for someone to actually take control of you. And he will take your men servants and your maidservants and your goodliest young men and your asses and put them to his work. And he will take the tenth of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king, which ye shall have chosen you. And the Lord will not hear you in that day. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel. And they said, Nay, but we will have a king over us, that we also may be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us and go out before us and fight our battles. And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of the Lord. And the Lord said to Samuel, Hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, Go ye every man unto his city. So even though all the people were told what a king is going to do, they still said, yeah, but we want one. We don't want the Lord anymore. We're already satisfied with what he gave us. Now we want something that a man can give us, which men are evil, men are corrupt. It's just the way it is. We're all born with that curse. And so asking for someone to be a king, whether the current president that we have, yeah, we call him a different name, but that's what he is. He's a ruler over us. Whether the current president stays in office or we get another king to rule over us, it doesn't matter. That is what a king is going to do. And it doesn't matter at what level of government. It always trickles downhill. That's just the way that it's going to be. So with everything that's going on in our nation right now, things are just getting worse. A lot of times people want to say if the right guy gets in office and all he has to do is fill in the blank, whatever your idea is, and everything's going to be okay. And that's never the answer. People are corrupt, and the only person that will rule rightly and justly is Jesus. He's the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and what we need to do is turn to him now before he turns his back on us. So in Proverbs chapter 1, starting at verse 10, it says, My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If they say, Come with us, let us lay wait for blood, let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. We shall find all precious substance, we shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in thy lot among us, let us all have one purse. So, funny enough, what it's talking about right there is socialism, which our country, for some stupid reason, is leaning towards right now. The whole, what was it, the Chaz zone in Seattle, they definitely wanted socialism going on. But at the same time, they also had their version of their armed security. They had their own government going on, and it was just a free-for-all. Everybody was okay with it until they shot each other, until they raped each other, until they stole everything from one another. So in this socialist mindset, there's just constant war between one another, because there's always going to be somebody that has something that you don't. You're going to think it's unfair, and so you're going to treat somebody evil and wickedly so that you can get what you want, but now you're the rich man. And so now you're going to be attacked. And so it doesn't work. The Bible constantly warns against it. It says, My son, walk not thou in the way with them, refrain thy foot from their path. For their feet run to evil, and make haste to shed blood. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird, and they lay wait for their own blood, they lurk privily for their own lives. So are the ways of every one that is greedy of gain, which taketh away the life of the owners thereof. Skipping ahead to verse 24, and this is a very serious warning that the Lord has given. Because I have called and ye refused, I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. But ye have set at naught all my counsel, and would none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. For they that hated knowledge, and did not choose the fear of the Lord, they would none of my counsel, and despise all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. So that's what the Bible has to say about socialism in a nutshell. To turn from it, it's evil, it's wicked, and everybody's trying to find their own way to get what they want. But nobody really understands what they truly want and what they need. But the Lord created us, and so He knows everything before we even think about what we need or what we want. He already knows. But when you get your heart right with the Lord and let Him lead you, everything else that the world has to offer doesn't even matter. And so I hope that was speaking to somebody. I know this is, kind of late message to be able to get out for the elections, but remember, it's just a man that you're voting for. We all have our idea of what we would like, but our nation has fallen from the Lord. And without turning to Him, our nation isn't going to. There isn't going to be a great revival where everybody comes to the Lord. When that kind of revival comes, people are actually going to be celebrating the Antichrist. And because people aren't in the Word, they don't even know what they're looking for. So keep the Lord first. Don't worry about the elections. There's a word that gets thrown around a lot. It's called insanity. And the definition is those who do the same thing but expect different results. So thousands of years ago, people turned from the Lord, bad things happened. That king that Israel got in 1 Samuel was Saul, and he was a horrible king. And the Lord changed His mind about making him king to begin with. But, it's what Israel wanted. So if you want to keep fighting for some man to run your country, to, run your local government, the Lord's going to laugh at you when your calamity comes, and you know what? That's on you. So unfortunately, most people are actually insane because they expect a different result. But it's the same thing that keeps on going over and over and over again. History repeats itself, and nobody learns from it. So if this offends somebody, that wasn't my intent, but think about it this way. If you're upset about what I'm saying, that's actually conviction from the Word. So, just like the Lord told Samuel, it's not you that they're despising, it's me. So, I feel the same way. I'm going to stay with the Lord. I'm going to follow His ways, and I really don't care about the next person in office making whatever new law or whatever. We have too many. People used to be able to figure out how to get by without man trying to steal everything from them. But that's for another time. Lord's coming soon, so don't have to really worry about it too much longer. So I'll see you next time on Outdoor Life in Christ.